Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today we're going to be doing an in-game settings video for Warzone Caldera. I've been meaning to make this settings video for a while since the new map was released. And if you don't know who I am or you're new to the channel wondering why you should trust me with your settings, I'm a professional Warzone player. I've been competing on Warzone for almost 2 years, basically since the game was released. I've made almost $300,000 and I've been on PC for over half that time. A couple quick things to note down before we jump into the settings and hop on the game is that I am on a dual PC and I only strictly play the game on my gaming PC, so I have nothing else running to like slow down the game or get less frames. And the settings I have, they are kind of nicer settings to make your game look nice, but they still keep you with getting a decent amount of frames. I average almost 200 frames while I'm playing. There are a couple settings that I'll go over that you can turn down if you're on a slower setup or you're not on dual PC like me. And one last thing before we hop into the video, make sure to like and subscribe if this does help you, and comment down below if there's any settings that I missed that you want me to go over in another video. Alright, we're going to be going through these settings kind of quick. I'll go into detail about a couple of them that I'd say matter more than others. But let's start out with display mode. I use full screen. I used to use full screen borderless, but you do get a couple extra frames in your game. It runs smoother if you do play on full screen over full screen borderless, so I would recommend that. Monitors, just whatever monitor you're playing on. Display adapters, whatever your graphics card is. Your screen refresh rate, make sure this is as high as your monitor can go. If you're either on 144 hertz or 170, 240 hertz, whatever it is, just make sure it's at the highest it can go. Render resolution, I keep mine at 100. You can go higher to make your game kind of be a little bit sharper, but you will lose frames from that, so I just keep mine at 100. Dynamic resolution, you want that disabled. Dynamic resolution frame rate target doesn't matter because you have the setting above disabled. Aspect ratio automatic. Sync every frame, make sure you keep that on disabled. Custom frame limit, you can set it to unlimited if you want, but I have mine set to 240 hertz because that is what my monitor is capped at. And then the menu, just to have less stress on your PC, I keep both of these at 60. Just when you're not like in game, it kind of keeps the frames lower and less stress on your PC. My brightness 60. I've kind of messed around with this. I've had it anywhere from 50 to 60. Right now I got it at 60. Display gamma 2.2. NVIDIA highlights disabled. NVIDIA reflex low latency. I have mine on disabled. You could have enabled plus blue boost as well. I just keep mine on enabled. Let's hop over to the quality now. So I have my field of view set to 120, so I'm the most zoomed out I can be. I would recommend trying to get used to 120 if you're not at it yet. You're able to see more of the map, like as you're looking around, is more zoomed out, and it actually like helps you feel like you have less recoil too when you're more zoomed out. Then ADS field of view, I have mine set to affected. I would not recommend running independent because if you play on a higher FOV, it zooms your gun in more to like the base default, and it's just way harder to shoot, I'd say. Camera movement, you're going to want to set that to least so your screen doesn't like shake or kind of slide. When you slide, it like kind of like zooms in a little. It's pretty weird. Streaming quality, I have mine on normal. Texture resolution, normal. Texture filter, anti-stropic, normal. Particle quality, high. This you can set to low. I kind of like mine high, so that's one of the settings that is kind of like affects your frames just a little bit. I keep mine on high just so it stays like the game's a little bit sharper, and I have a dual PC, so I'm able to do that. Then disabled, all this stuff you don't really need. Bullet impacts and sprays you can have enabled if you want. I just keep it disabled because it doesn't really matter, I'd say. Then film strength 0, film grain 0. This is all this stuff. All these settings down here will make your game very blurry. These are very important. You're going to want to set this 0, 0, disabled, off, disabled. And then shadows and lighting, we have low, enabled, normal, disabled at the bottom. Now let's hop over to controller. All right, starting from the top here, I play default flip, so I just flip my bumpers. So my L1 R1 is my ADS and shoot, and my L2 R2 is my bumpers for lethals and tags. It's just something I do because I play claw. It just makes it easier to reach for my middle finger. In stick layout, we have default, disabled, minimum input dead zone. I'd recommend keeping this like 0.05 or under. It's the when you move your left or right stick, it's like the minimum threshold that it takes to move it. If you have this higher, it's gonna seem like it's harder to kind of like look around or move around with your joysticks. Then max, you want a 0.99. And my sense, 88.9. I've been on this sense for a long time. I'd say months now. It's just kind of a sweet spot for me. I've messed around a little bit with sense going lower and higher, but 88.9 just always has felt right for me. But it's all personal preference. Aim response curve, dynamic. I would recommend trying to get used to dynamic. I used to play standard, but I'd say dynamic's just a little bit better. I feel like it's easier to control recoil a little bit more. Controller vibration disabled. Aim assist standard. Scaling assist with FOV I have disabled. This is a setting that a lot of people kind of debate what you should use. At one point, I was on enabled for a couple months, but besides that, I've always kept it disabled. And in Caldera, I've only ever had it disabled, and it basically just makes you kind of have like more aim assist around players and not directly on their body, but it still feels nicer, I'd say, because you get more aim assist on the target. In weapon mount, we have 88 melee. All these settings don't really matter. Use reload behavior, contextual tap. That's something I would recommend trying to get used to if you can. I've had that setting on for a long time. It just makes it a lot easier to reload and like close doors, open doors, all that. It just takes the tap. And then obviously you have to hold to reload instead. And armor plate behavior, I have apply all versus over apply one. Apply all is definitely more helpful because you just have to hit your plate button once, then it just kind of throws all your plates on once, then you have to just tap it again if you want to cancel it if you're in a fight or something like that. Slide behavior, I have hold. If you don't play claw, I would recommend running tap on this setting, because the only reason I have it set to hold is because my finger when I play claw rests on my slide button, my circle button. So it's a lot easier for me to like hold it down versus tap it, where it, like my finger might like kind of stay rested on it, and then it like just messes up my slide. That's the only reason I run hold over tap. Then automatic tack sprint, another big setting you're going to want to run. And parachute auto deploy, make sure you have this disabled. This is how you tell the bots from the sweats. If they have parachute auto deploy, you literally pull your chute like 20 feet up in the air before you even get close to the ground, and then your opponent's just able to shoot you when you're trying to land way easier. You make sure you keep this disabled. All right, then quickly, I'm just going to be scrolling through my interface and audio. There's not a lot of specific reasons I use what I use in here. There's just kind of something I've always used and I'm used to. So colorblind type, deuteranopia, colorblind target both. My HUDs are both set to 100. Minimap shape square. This is kind of a big setting that make sure you want to use. Keep that on square. Minimap rotation enabled. I'm just gonna kind of scroll through. Not really much. This is what I use. Kind of all these not really that big a deal. Then hopping over to audio quick. I play on boost high. This is something I would recommend. I've always used boost high. I'd say it's by far the best audio mix. Master volume 100. Keep my music off. My hit marker sound effect, classic. I think it sounds better than MW or none. And then let's see, doesn't look like there's any other big settings in here. It looks like that will do it. All right, that's gonna be it for all my graphic, controller, audio settings, all of that for Warzone Caldera. If you enjoyed the video and it helped you in any way, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.